Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. In this video we're going to go over the deck that I was able to top 5 in the PQ that happened in Spokane, Washington on Saturday, December 13th. I chose to take Han Solo from JTL. Han Solo has his moments with a 30 HP red base. You can play any 30 HP red base. I just happen to have the Twin Suns Hyperfoil, so I chose that one. We're going to go over the deck list here, and then we're going to jump into how the tournament progressed for me as I got to top 8, and we'll let you know how it ended there. So the deck list here is pretty simple. Han Red. We were running 14 1-drops just to kind of maximize the aggression, and also plays into Sanctioner Shuttle. So the 14 1-drops we're playing is we've got 3 A-Wings, 3 Cartel Turncoats, 3 Crackshot V-Wings, 2 Mining Guild Ties, and 3 Republic Y-Wings. I think some of the things that really helped me progress through the tournament as it got later into the tournament was definitely jam communications. Against the blue decks and also the green villainous decks, it allowed me to rip out Hyperspace Disaster and Overwhelming Barrage out of their hands at the right moments so that I wouldn't just get blown out, and it actually was able to let me gain a lot of space advantage, be aggressive, and then also just dropping down a 3-drop Millennium Falcon from Jump to Lightspeed, the Get Out and Push, was huge too, because if I can resolve that on the 4 resource turn after I've like Sanctioner shuttled something, the following turn is I put Han onto it, like, and then also Jam Communications took out Bamboozle out of a lot of people's hands too. We're able to put the Han Solo onto the Falcon with the untapped trigger on the stack, play out a sudden Ferocity, and depending on the matchup and depending on if I saw Jam Communications or not, we would throw the Jam Comms or the sudden Ferocity onto the Falcon with the Han, and that's a 10 power unit, which is 3 swings you're dead. And by the time it got to the 5 resource turn, I've already done like 10-15 damage to you. So it usually would just like almost guarantee me the win on the following turn. And then untap everything and slam down a Lightmaker. Lightmaker is a 5-cost 3/4 that has raid 4, so it hits for 7 on its own. And that's why we're running 3 Han Solo pilots in the deck, because between that, it's almost like a pseudo pump spell, right? Like you have that, you have Punch It, and you have Aggressive Negotiations. Even if they for some reason deal with the Falcon after you've hit them for 10, then you get to punch in with the Lightmaker, and if you have literally almost any of your pump spells, it's hitting for 9 a lot of the time, which is huge. That usually will close the game out in one action. So that was what was getting us there. I did realize over the course of the tournament, I was either sideboarding out or resourcing Poe Dameron almost 90% of the time. So that actually might just like come out of the deck, in my opinion. But other things that helped close the game out was the Millennium Falcon from set 1, the piece of junk. Red 5's really in there for the Kira matchups and the Han 2 matchups. That's why I had 2 of it in the main deck. I just wanted to be ready for them. And then Cassian as well. Being able to come out and smuggle and hit you for 3 after they claim is just really good. In the sideboard, we had, and then another big player before we jump into the sideboard was Waylay. Now, after this tournament, I think I'm going to swap Waylays for Beguiles, because Waylay is going to do this. It did the same thing because of how fast this deck is that Beguile would do, but I also get added information off of Beguile, right? Like, do I need to have a Jam Comms in my hand? Do I need to try to find it and dig for it? Am I clear to go for the win type deal, right? So it was all in all just like a really good bounce effect slash pseudo removal spell because of how fast we are. Like, the thing I was waylaying a lot of the time was the Bright Hope or the Concord Dawn Interceptor. And Beguile deals with both of those cards. So, and gives me added information. So I think that is a decent swap in the future, is like just get rid of Waylay, put in Beguile, and now you're even setting yourself up better for post rotation. Poe probably comes out of the deck for Kit Fistle's Aether Sprite anyway in post rotation, and I think Kit Fistle's Aether Sprite is actually a solid card. It's a 4/5 Saboteur. It allows me to punch in through a Sentinel. Like, let's say I don't have a Waylay in hand or a Beguile. At least the Kit Fistle's Aether Sprite, if I'm able to resolve that, can punch through a Sentinel to help me get that finishing points of damage you need to get through. The sideboard was 2 Confiscates, 2 Swoop Downs, 2 Disabling Fang Fighters, 2 Outmaneuvers, and Commandeers. With the way the tournament was set up and what everybody was playing, Commandeer and Outmaneuver were usually my sideboard ins. Now, I didn't go up against any Luke Data Vaults. I didn't go up against any Vader Yellows. So Disabling Fang Fighter and Confiscate kind of just sat in my sideboard all day. Now, I do think you still need them. You got to be prepared. But Outmaneuver and Commandeer were gassed, right? So I'll get into a game I played later where Commandeer actually made my opponent have to not drop something back down after I waylaid it back to their hand, because they knew the Commandeer was coming and I would just take it and hit them with it, right? So that's the deck. I think it's actually in a really good spot right now. I'm still on the plan that I don't think Tarkin Town is needed. I'll explain to you why I didn't top 4 as we get into the tournament results. It was kind of sad what happened, but at the same time, I'm super stoked because the circumstances led to a good thing happening. So let's jump into the tournament results, and I hope you enjoy the deck. I'm super high on this deck right now. I think it's going to be my deck post-rotation. I might even keep this list, like what I swap out, keep those stack of cards on the side so that I can play this in Eternal as well, because I think this deck is just really good. Moving on to the tournament play here. So this was the results of top 8. So we have Derek, who won on Admiral Piet. He was playing Admiral Piet Red, and he went 7-1-3, which is really good. His only loss was to me. I 2-1'd him earlier on in the tournament. Brady Rage is a teammate of mine on Inland Empire. He ended up getting second place with 6-1-4. Really good. Really, really proud of this guy. Super great. He was my only loss in Swiss. So it was kind of cool how this worked out. Then we've got the Beagle 81, who was on Yoda Green. And I think, if I'm correct, this is a Force base. So he was playing the Force package. And he went 5-2-3. And then the guy that knocked me out of top 8 was Bryson Caldwell. And he was on Ray Data Vault. And it's funny because in Swiss, I 2-0'd him. So I had to go up against him in round 1 of top 8. And then he got me 2-1. So it was just a lot of back and forth. And then there's me, who was on Han Solo Catacombs Kadara. I went 5-2-2. The 2 draws, I don't know why are there, because after I went 5-1-0 into the top 8, and then I lost to Bryson, and then I dropped. So I don't know if that's because I dropped. I'm not sure how that works, but. And then 6th place was Anakin Skywalker Data Vault with Gallisto piloting it. He went 4-1-4. Oddball. I believe that's our buddy Steve from the local meta. He was on Grand Admiral Thrawn. I'm pretty sure he's playing a yellow base. And that's his list here. We can actually hover over this and see the list. So that's kind of neat. So if you're interested, leave a comment below and I'll post some lists. So we went 4-1-4. And then in 8th place was Anakin Data Vault again. Cody 7-2 Hill. He went 4-2-3. So let's jump into how I progressed, because that's what this video is really about, is how I progressed throughout the tournament. So in round 1, I ended up being paired up against a Padme from Secrets of Power with a green base, just a 30 health green base. And I ended up winning 2-0. But the way the games played out, I would have absolutely got trashed if I had Tarkin Town as my base, because of the fact that he was all to the ground and I was all to the space. And the way the games worked out is I was able to take him down because I had lethal in the air within 1 action, and he had lethal in the air, on the ground on 1 action if I would have been on Tarkin Town. But because I had the 30 health base, he was short like 3 or 4 damage each game, which was huge because he had like established a Plo Koon, got all this stuff out, and it would have been able to, like, I'm convinced that in this game, if I had Tarkin Town, he would have just slammed me both games. So that's another reason why I'm super convinced that 30 HP is the way to go. In round 2, let's see, where am I at? I didn't get to check this out. Okay, so table 9, I was up against the guy that won the tournament. I was up against Piet Red, and I ended up 2-1ing him. I won the first game, he won the second game, I won the third game. Really good. This is the game I want to talk about when I had Commandeer come in from the sideboard, because I knew he was playing stuff like Ruthless Raider and the 5-drop ship that has Raid 1 and Overwhelm, right? The MC30. He had played a Ruthless Raider. I had bounced it back to his hand, like immediately. Now that's not great because it's a free 4 damage to a unit and to a base. But with what I had going on in play, it was actually fine. And then I had used Han's ability and flipped a Commandeer out of my sideboard, which made him not play it out the rest of the game, which was huge because essentially that Waylay became a removal spell. So that was an interesting thought there. So yeah, it was a really cool game to play. I definitely think that it's not unwinnable for Piet or myself. It really comes down to how the draws happen, and because we're both space, but he just goes bigger, but I go faster, right? So there's play both ways there. But super awesome to play against this guy. It was really cool meeting him. He's a really nice guy, and I'm super proud of him for winning this PQ. Congrats to you, Derek, and I hope to see you in the future, dude. Let's move on to round 3. So it was 6 rounds of Swiss, and then we moved to top 8. So then, because of that, I moved to seat 2, and I was up against Cody Hill, who ended up top 8ing, and he was up against Anakin Dadabalt, and I went 2-1 against him. Game 1, I won. Game 2, I lost, because he had, like, the really good start. It was, like, I believe it was the Jedi Starfighter and, like, all that other stuff to really just go over the top there. Blue leaders and stuff like that. Game 3, saw no Starfighter. It was I believe, a Mina Bontiri or a Karis on the ground. And I was able to keep up with the damage and then eventually do the flip thing and just get him. So it was a really good game. Like, these guys were really good to play against. And then in round 4, it was me against the second place runner-up, Brady Rage. He ended up getting me 2-0 or 2-1. Very sad, but I was like happy at the same time because a teammate of mine was able to take me down. And again, this was my only loss in Swiss. And he was on Han Solo 2, blue, no force, which was an interesting deck to say the least. Like, he was running like turn 1 Ogdo Bogdo smacking me for 5, so I wasn't able to keep up with the damage that way. He got game 1, I got game 2, he got game 3. It was really grindy, but really awesome at the same time. Love playing against Brady, and I hope that he, keeps up this momentum, dude, because getting second place is huge, right? Like, I'm even proud of myself for 5th place, But getting second place is like something to really be proud of, let alone win the thing, right? Round 5, I'm in seat 3 now, and I'm up against Bryson, another teammate of mine. And I ended up 2-0ing him, which was cool. So that's why I think I got a little cocky, I'm not going to lie, in my head about going into him in top 8 in the first round, just because I had 2-0'd him already. But pretty much I just like ripped all of his things he needed out of his hand with jam comms and was able to swing in for damage that way. And in round 6, I was in seat 4 for some reason. Oh, I got the pair down, that's why. And I ended up 2-0ing a Yoda data vault. I will say though, to this guy's, like to back up my opponent here, he forgot to resource on the 4th resource turn of the game. So he stayed at 3 when I was at 4. And he realized it after the whole turn had almost pretty much passed anyways. We were like six or 7 actions in. He was like, crap, I forgot to resource. And I was like, dude, I normally wouldn't be like upset about that, or I would like, you know, just put a card from your hand down. But this is a PQ. You got to be on top of your game, right? Love the guy. I've met him so many times now. He's also one of the locals here. But he was doing really well with Yoda Data Vault up until this point. And then I ended up 2-0ing him. I got him in the first game, got him in the second game. And he actually resourced correctly in the second game. He just like didn't see everything he needed, and I was just a little too fast. So and then in round 7, which is the top 8, I want to note something here. Everybody above me decided to draw to get to top 8, right? And me and my opponent decided not to, which actually was a huge advantage for me because of the fact that I 2-0'd my opponent. Now into round 7, so top 8, I am sitting in top seat, right? Wait, why does this say draw? I was up against Bryson in top 8. I'm confused. This doesn't make any... Oh, there we go. Okay. Quarterfinals. They must have like put this in backwards for some reason. Or me and Bryson played the wrong games. That might have been messed up. Because if me and Bryson weren't supposed to go up against each other... But like Melee made us play each other, so I don't understand this here. But in the quarterfinals, so essentially this was the game we played in top 8, right? It was me versus Bryson, and he ended up getting me 2-1. I had played jam comms on 6, ripped his hyperspace disaster out of his hand, and then Bryson rips this is game 3, and then Bryson rips another hyperspace disaster off the top of his deck right after I just ripped one out of his hand. So I was like, you know, a little butthurt about it, but at the same time, super proud of Bryson for getting to where he got. And then that's where my tournament ended. We ended up, I think it was single elimination in top 8. So I was just like, you know what, I'm not even going to stick around. I'm just going to go home to my kids, right? And enjoy the rest of my night. But super good running for me. I was pretty proud of myself. I think that I did pretty well. And I'm super excited because if you're watching this video, this is news to you. But I'm going to regionals in February in Milwaukee, which is my hometown. I'm from Milwaukee. I moved out to Spokane 3 years ago. And I'm super excited to go back home and be in my hometown and represent for Spokane there. And my team Inland Empire, which by the way, big shout out to the guys for inviting me to be on the team. I feel like ever since I joined the team, I've grown dramatically as a Star Wars player. These guys give me so much good tips. I've learned so much. A big shout out to my buddy Josh Vet too, and his wife Brooke for also giving me the competitive game reps that I need on the down low at home. They such good people, and I'm so grateful for the people that I've been wrapped around and set around just to become better. I went to sectors with Josh and Brooke with my wife, and I learned a lot there, realizing that you can't just play a deck that people aren't seeing coming, because that only goes so far. you actually have to play like a deck that puts results out. And then if you practice with that deck and you learn its inside outs, you can become a good Star Wars player too. So I'm really, really stoked on that. I'm very happy. And I'm really proud of the guys for doing what they did. Like, if you go to, go to the finals here. It was Brady versus Derek. Brady, love you, dog. You're an amazing player, and I'm super grateful to have you in my life. Semifinals was Bryson, so Bryson was in top 4. Super proud to have him as my friend and as a teammate. Just awesome gameplay, guys. And that, yeah, so I'm ecstatic. I'm happy about my top 5. I don't feel terrible about where I ended. I definitely think that, you know, come the future, I'm going to try a little harder to get up into these top 4, potentially win something. I know during the regionals in Milwaukee, I'm going to enter into the premier event, not the limited event. I really want to give this deck another shot before it rotates out. And my wife will also be participating in that one as well. So if you guys enjoy Han the way I do, this might be the way. The only thing I might suggest is maybe getting rid of Poe. Poe is very good. It's a very good unit. And it does represent a lot of damage with aggressive negotiations because of the way it stacks. But at the same time, I found myself resourcing it or sideboarding it out in almost every game I played. Which means, that tells me as a player of some caliber now, that it's maybe just not even needed in the deck, right? Like, maybe you should just put something else in the deck. Either round out the jam comms in the red 5 or the punch it, and just, like, you don't even really need Poe in this type of build. Especially if someone's fully under the ground, you just don't need it. But I was glad to bring you this video today. I really wanted to give a wrap up to my top 5. And I'm proud of myself. I'm proud of my teammates. Way to go, guys. Love you guys. Make sure you give God some praise tonight. He is Yahweh. He is the life, truth, the way. And we'll catch you in the next one.